Hi, I'm Henrik Staun Poulsen and I work for Story Software. My details are at the end of this presentation, which is called To Azure SQL Database from SQL Server 2008. This presentation will cover three things: tips and tricks on how to move your old SQL servers to Azure, what to do about a lot of things, and secondly, how I got SP Blitz from Brendosar, the first responder kit, how I got that one to run on Azure SQL DB. And lastly, I'll cover a few things that I found on the way. Which SQL? Well, there are three offerings from Microsoft, and it's not the first two, it's the last one that I'm going to talk about. If you're on one of the other two things, then go and look for something else than this SQL Server. It is by far the most economic of the three offerings, so it's the one you want if you want to save money, but it's also the one with the most work. Because you need to replace or fix link servers, three-part table names. You can't run stuff like master.sys.tables, and GetDate will return UTC, and well, it's the best to store UTC in your database, but if your application programmers can't cover that and can't handle that in the application, you need to do stuff, and I'll show you what to do. You need to search for all the places where you do an executor as owner, because the suser as name doesn't quite work in Azure SQL DB. There is no SQL Agent, there is no SP send DB mail, there is no SP profiler, and you need to fix and pick the right collation for all your tables. The default is SQL Latin General CP1 CIAS, and that might not be the one you want. Here's what I did. When converting to Azure SQL Database, I searched and replaced all the places where there was a GetDate with this long line of code. It looks horrible in stored procedures, but it performs quite well, and that way I get my local time, and my applications programmers do not have to do special code. It would have been best to if I've been able to convert all the date times to UTC, but they weren't having that. I got a colleague to build a program that could send out emails, so I didn't have to use SP send DB mails, and I replaced the executor's owner with a stored procedure from a hero of mine, Alan Sommerskog. You can see his homepage there. You need to search that one for the grant PAMs to SP SQL in order to use this certificate with stored procedures. Instead of linked tables, I use external tables. Instead of linked servers, I use external tables. It's a bit more cumbersome, as it's one table at a time instead of one server at a time, but I've scripted that so I can get all the tables in a foreign database if I needed to. Does it look nice? No. Does it work? Yeah, quite nicely. I also had a lot of SQL Agent jobs that I need to replace, and I've replaced them with runbooks and Elastic Jobs. Elastic Jobs is still in beta, so I had to work with runbooks, and that's PowerShell, and yeah, well, not that easy to maintain, and it's not as easy as SQL Agent. But Elastic Jobs, that's just one or two stored procedures, and that's quite brilliant. There are a couple of gotchas that you want to look out for when you start using it. I use SQL Latin 1, that collation there, and I was able to persuade my colleagues to do all the sorting in the clients, because the clients have CPU cycles en masse that is free, almost free, at least, whereas the sorting in SQL Server is a bit costly and maybe not the one you want to use, because that sorting there, well, many Danes use a Danish-Norwegian collation because that suits our people, our customers, better. So do that in the client and it works. I've started using extended events, and I need to listen to some more presentations here at SQL Blitz because I want to learn more about this. It's quite brilliant and it's not easy. I'm a brave man, so I've let Azure SQL add and drop indexes. Some of them are no, I wouldn't do that, but others have been like, yeah, that might be a good idea, but I can actually improve this a bit. So I've done that, and that helps my database a lot. Going to Azure SQL DB, there are a lot of things that you have to do. There are also a lot of things you don't have to do anymore. The benefits are you do not have to beg your managers for the money and the time to upgrade SQL servers every year or every other year. And Brendo Saar has a list of things that you need to worry about when you're using a SQL server. This link, and it's quite long, as you can see up top left hand there. And I've converted this list to show you what you don't have to worry about on Azure SQL DB. I've highlighted the stuff in red that you don't have to worry about. Backup, for instance. Microsoft is taking care of backups, except if you're using TDE. You still need to make sure you back up your TDE certificates, and they can actually restore it and restore the database and still read the data. Make sure of that. I've been burnt. So yeah, you do not need to do DBC check DB, DBCC check DB anymore. Nice. Microsoft is taking care of that. There are a lot of performance stuff that you do not have to do anymore. For instance, you do not need to check whether you have databases on the C drive, because there is no C drive. That's brilliant. Upgrades. Yeah, patching. No way, we don't need to do that. That's free of charge. Yes, it's not free, but it's included, and you don't have to ask your manager for it. It's just done. We get all the new features on SQL Server, yes, right away. That's brilliant. Right, I was really disappointed when I tried to install SP Blitz and it didn't run. Actually, I was so disappointed that I started looking at the source code and see if I could fix it so that I could get it to run. The first attempt was creating a lot of dynamic code in the spblitz.sql, and well, that means maintaining SP Blitz would be a lot more cumbersome. So Brendo Saar wasn't having that, unfortunately. What I've done instead, I've created a bit of code that will convert it. So I took a copy of SP Blitz and I called it SP Blitz for Azure SQL DB, and changed a few things. It's heavily modified. There are no three-part server names. There are no linked servers. So what I did was I added a few external tables, a couple of stored procedures, and a few views, like 8 views, 13 external tables, and 4 stored procedures. The external tables are created like this, and you have to create a schema, and I've concatenated the database name and the schema name into a master sys schema in this example, and I've done that for all the tables that are outside the current database, 13, all 13 tables there, and the master sys schema here, all objects table, means I can read that table which sits over in the master database, and you do not have access to that in Azure SQL DB, but now you do if you do this. Then I wrote a small PowerShell script that'll do a search and replace in SP Blitz and over into SP Blitz for Azure SQL DB. Notice the dots at the end because there are 30 odd replacements that you need to do. It's really simple stuff, getting rid of the square brackets, and then you can start searching for master.sys and replace it with master sys. You can search for sys.master files and you replace it with master sys.master files. And in SP Blitz there are quite a few different spellings of the same table names, so that means there are a lot of search and replaces to be done. But whenever Brendo Saar is releasing a new version of SP Blitz, I expect to be able to download it, run my script, run the result on Azure SQL DB, and check that it's still running and it's still finding all the things that I haven't had time to change still. So I'll try to keep that one updated whenever it's improved by Brent. Right, lastly, I've encountered a few bugs on the way. External tables gave us a very nasty CLR error message. In the beginning we did not know that it was connected to external tables. It was only Microsoft that told us that this was the case. What we did to alleviate it, or getting rid of the bug, the CLR error message, we had to, in the beginning we upgraded the service from S3 to S4 and then downgraded it immediately again, and that meant the database failed over and started running again. Apparently it was running out of some sort of resources to do with CLR. They've confirmed it is a bug, and I think they fixed it because I use a lot of external tables for a lot of different things, not just SP Blitz, and it's been quite a while since I've had to do this failover thing. Part of the bug from part of working with Microsoft about this bug was that they told me that there was a PowerShell command called invoke AZ SQL Database failover, and I tried using that and they fixed the bug, so I haven't had to use it a lot. The second bug I found was to do with sensitivity classification. Well, of course we didn't know that because the bug turned out that our error reporting, when we had a bug in our SQL code, it went, instead of a table name and a column name and a string, it would do 6 stars for each of them. And as you can see on the DBA Stack Exchange question there, I had a lot of suggestions of what it might be, and we found out by talking to Microsoft that this was a bug to do with sensitivity classification, and that they promised to fix it and fix it around Christmas, so hopefully it will be fixed already. I also think I found a bug with the Elastic Jobs. It's still in beta, and it's not really a bug. It's just that SP Blitz is reporting many plans for a single query, and that single query is somewhere deep inside the Elastic Job SQL code. Right, that was it from me. Here are my details. You feel free to contact me by email or telephone or whatever if you've got questions. If you want access to the source code, it's on GitHub, on that link there. I would very much welcome beta testers. Thank you very much for watching so far. Please fill out the questionnaire. That will help us a lot. Thank you very much. Bye.